Joseph asks, do you guys think the government will bail out those greedy car manufacturers and dealers? And if so, don't you think it's time to trim the tree? I think that if we have some big downturn, is going to be probably the only situation where any of these manufacturers go bankrupt and go bankrupt really quickly. Because I think that if they are heading for the situation like we saw in Nissan, you're going to have another manufacturer swoop in and grab the assets, buy them out. So there's going to be mergers that happen. So things can get bad. They can get bad from here. We're already seeing that dealerships are changing hands too. So what happens before it gets really bad is there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions. And that's what happens. We're starting to see a little bit of that now. So maybe that is just the starting point of what's to come. But things in our economy have to get really bad for these manufacturers to go bankrupt before other companies will come in and swoop in. Or some of these manufacturers, you look back in 2008, like there were some mergers, but there weren't a ton of these acquisitions because everybody was just hands off. So I mean, you have all these failing manufacturers, and there were no big time acquisitions because nobody wanted. It was a bad space, right? And we're not in that kind of dire situation, at least yet, in the car market. So as of right now, as the situation sits, in my opinion, we're not going to have a bailout because you're not going to need it. You're going to have other companies come in and bail out these car companies before something like that happens.
In my opinion, I hope we never have another bailout.
Me too.
I'm one of, I had a Golf USA store. Okay. Other than bankruptcy laws, the government didn't bail me out when the store went south. Okay. That's part and parcel of being entrepreneurial. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, you took your chance and you live with the consequences. It's capitalism. And I understand the number of people these manufacturers employ and all that, but damn it, if they get run into the ground, they get run into the ground, and my tax dollars shouldn't be used to resurrect them. That's just me. Okay. There will be plenty of people on the other side who will espouse why it makes more sense to use government funds to support them. But if you're going to live in a capitalistic society, a real capitalistic society, there's winners and losers, and the losers lose, and the government doesn't bail you out when you lose. They didn't bail my ass out when I lost. So yeah, I am of the opinion that if there's a loser, then they lost, and that's it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm always in favor of the free market working things out the way that the free market needs to. We talk a lot about unions. There's a lot of auto unions in the car market. We talk about them all the time. It drives me crazy because I'm not anti-union in any capacity, but what I don't understand is if you are a worker and you feel like you have to fight with your employer to get either fair wages or the right conditions. I mean, we're in America. Go work somewhere else. I don't understand the why these like the big three, why they even have employees if they're creating such environments where the employees feel like they need to fight with the companies to have the right kind of working conditions. They shouldn't have any employees. They should have to pay the crap out of these people to have them there because people are saying, no, I'm not going to work here if you're going to treat me like this. That's one thing I've never understood about union. I mean, I understand the back end, and everyone always wants more money. But the thing about it, if it's me and I feel like I have to go stand outside in the cold to fight to get better pay, I'm going to go get better pay from somebody else.
Yeah. I think you're talking, if I hear you correctly, about you don't need a union. You need to depend more on your own self and your own common sense that if you don't think you're getting paid enough where you're working, go find somebody that'll pay you more. That's what I think I just heard, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that. And I agree. I'm not going to say that unions don't have a role. They do, but I think unions exist because people are afraid to act individually, and they get sold on the concept that there's more power through numbers, and that's why people unionize. They're figuring that their single voice isn't going to be heard, but the voice of 1,000 will be heard, and so I get it, but it depends on your makeup. If you don't think your employer is paying you well enough, or that the conditions you're working under are good enough, go find the employer who will pay you well enough and allow you to work in better conditions. Because those jobs exist.
Jim Allen asks, serious question. I'm buying a new Sienna, picking up in a couple of weeks. Normally, I tell them to take a hike on the extended warranty, but with all of these issues, should I consider it? I have a big opinion on extended warranties, but Ray, if you'd like to go first, you may, sir. I have a big opinion on extended warranties.
I don't think it's a fair question for me to answer.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is, I'm Car Edge. And do we sell extended warranties? Yes, we do. Do we sell them for less than, say, dealers do? Yes, we do. But I don't. The only thing I'll say, and this is what I used to say to customers when I worked in dealerships, a vehicle service contract, or an extended warranty, as it is colloquially known, is nothing more than health insurance for your vehicle. We all have health insurance. We pray to God we never have to use it, okay, because we don't want to be that sick that we had to use it. And it's the same thing for an extended warranty for a vehicle. People who buy extended warranties are buying it and hoping to God they never have to use it, but in case they do, they're covered. If that makes you comfortable, then that makes you comfortable. If that makes you uncomfortable, then don't buy an extended warranty. That's my opinion.
Yeah, my opinion on extended warranties is I'm always against them. But I can make the case for a consumer to buy an extended warranty if you know yourself and you know that you're horrible with money, and you know when a situation pops up that you're going to have to fix the car, that you're just not going to have that money. So, and if you can bake it into your payment, it's basically like you're front loading the situation that might not ever arise. But if that crisis does arise, you know you're not going to be prepared for it, and if it does happen, you're not going to be able to go to work. So that is the one situation. If you know yourself and you know how terrible you are with money, and you have to pay lots of money every month extra to give you that peace of mind, then it might be worth it just for the peace of mind. I know people that are in my life and my wife's life that they love extended warranties, and it's just because they know that when something breaks, they don't have to worry about it. They can call the number and they can get it fixed, and they've already paid for it. But in most cases, I would guess probably 90+% of cases, extended warranty, you're just going to be wasting money. But there's going to be certain situations where they pan out, but in most cases, you are much better off just taking on situations with your car as they occur and not planning for them to happen by paying for it preemptively. That's my opinion on it.
I like your opinion as well.
Ray, no dealers, no sales. Manufacturers are not interested in becoming dealers. I want to push back on this a little bit because we've seen a sales model be very successful and trade on the stock market very well, going directly to consumers. I believe if laws were set in motion to allow manufacturers to sell direct to consumer, I think more of them would absolutely do that, because they could sell exactly for the same amount that dealers are selling cars for right now, and then take in a lot of that margin. I know it's much easier model for them to sell directly to their dealers, because they're just wholesaling units. They can drop off a ton of them, but there's a lot of money to be made on these consumers, not only in selling the vehicles, but all the products that dealers get to sell to these consumers that manufacturers don't get to touch. So I do think with all that money sitting there, manufacturers would like to sell. And Ford said they wanted to, what, a year and a half ago?
Ford said a lot of things.
Yeah, Ford said a lot of things.
I tend to agree with Igor on this. I think most manufacturers want to be manufacturers, and they don't want to be dealers. They want to be wholesalers. They don't want to be retailers. Yes, has Tesla been successful? Yes, Tesla has been successful. That doesn't mean every other brand is going to be successful trying to sell directly to consumers. Is Rivian successful? Not yet. Is Lucid successful? Not yet. We know of one that's extremely successful. That's Tesla. Manufacturers, to a certain degree, some have tried in the past to become the seller of the vehicle on a retail level. Ford in the Oklahoma City area, I think it was, owned all the Ford dealerships. They were all factory owned. Okay. And so Ford could control the process. I think that lasted 2 or 3 years before they sold every one of those stores, because what Ford found out is they didn't want to be in the retail business. They really liked being in the manufacturer and being in the wholesale business. So, do I think there's a place for both? Yeah, probably. Do I hope, and we discussed this earlier, that perhaps dealers could learn a different way of being dealers, so that it would be a better process for customers, and it could be more like what Tesla is? Yeah, that would be the hope.
Yeah, I don't think that world exists where you can have some manufacturers direct to consumer and also have a dealer model, because then their customers, who are their dealers, they're also competing with. So I don't think that can work, unless it's only in certain states where you have no dealers. And I don't know how it would work, but I don't.
I was going to say, I know some manufacturers have talked about an agency model where there is a dealer to a degree, and the customer orders the car and the dealer delivers the car, and the dealer gets a whatever the fee is for being the delivery agent of that. There some hybrid sales channel that we might see, perhaps. Has the advent of Tesla spurred conversations about ways to improve retail automotive and how vehicles are sold? Yes. So, what the outcome ultimately will be, I don't think you're ever going to convince Ford or GM or Stellantis or any of the major brands that they want to be the retailer. They want to be the wholesaler. That doesn't mean startups don't want to be the retailer, because that's what the startups think is going to make it work. So maybe there's room for both. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see that model and see that model work, but I have a tendency to believe it's not going to be able to. It's not going to be a thing, at least in a very, very long time. They'd have to figure out some ground rules. A lot of laws have to be changed, and there would be a lot of dealers not happy about a setup like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Will ICE prices come down once the manufacturers start slowing down their EV production, since they won't need to continue underwriting them? That's a good question.
Well, we know that many of the manufacturers have already said how much they're planning on lowering their EV prices moving forward. $4, $5, $6, $7,000, which means that in a lot of cases they'll be priced equivalent to a comparable ICE vehicle. So I don't know. I don't know. I really don't.
What they were asking is that since like a company like Ford won't be spending so much money because they're going to roll back the amount of money that they're spending on these EVs, will it give them the ability to lower their ICE division vehicles, the prices on their F-150s, because they're not having to have the F-150s pay for all these Mach-E's that are sitting around these dealerships? That's the question.
Well, okay, understanding the question like that, no, I don't think that's going to implore Ford to lower their ICE, because they know ultimately there's alternative fuel vehicles in their future, whether they be battery electric, whether they be hybrid, whatever they may be. They know they're coming. Something's coming, and well, something still has to underwrite all that, and that's still going to be the ICE division, in my opinion.
I agree with it. I don't think it matters where they're underwriting, what money they have to spend on whatever. If they can sell a truck for $70,000, they're gonna sell that truck for $70,000. It don't matter.
Yep.
They're not trying to help you by they're not going to pull down prices out of the kindness of their heart. They're only going to pull down their prices if they have to. And if you stop buying their trucks, then they'll start lowering the prices. And right now we've seen that it's not the case, at least so far. We're seeing more incentives, prices get lowered a little bit. But until the collective public stops paying these prices for these vehicles, you're not gonna see anything change in a large way.
I concur. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell every living person you know that they need to subscribe to Car Sense with Brandon and Ray.
Why do people rather buy CVTs than manual vehicles if usually both are in the same price range? And the stick is way more durable than a CVT. This is an easy question. It's because nobody knows how to freaking drive a stick anymore. I don't even have, I mean, we can take this off the screen. I don't even have sticks on my lot anymore because no one knows how to drive these things. I've had multiple scenarios where I had a good car, a fine car, and somebody took it off in a test drive, and when it came back, clutch was ripped right out of it because they had no clue how to use this thing. I had a young kid come up on our lot one time. I had a Mustang, and it was a nice looking Mustang, and it was a straight drive. And this kid, I said, okay, I want to test drive this car. I said, what, do you know how to drive a straight drive? And he said yes. And me not believing him, absolutely lying. Me not believing him, I gave him the key. I followed him out. I said, "Okay, well here's the easy test. Just get in it. Let's you can go ahead and take off in it. Just go ahead." And he got in it and he turned the key. He was like, "Man, this thing won't even crank. What kind of junk are you guys trying to sell here?" I said, "All right, get out of the car." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You don't know how to drive a stick shift." He said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "Okay, well, no, come on, get out of the car. Give me the keys." And he finally gave me the keys. And I said, "Young man, if I couldn't be any more patronizing, I guess, but young man, to start a straight drive car, you have to push in the clutch." He said, "Oh," and I said, "You don't know how to drive a straight drive." He said, "No, I guess I don't." and he left. So anyway, that's the experience that I have with everyone now, and they don't know how to drive sticks anymore, especially my generation. I mean, I've heard Zach, your son doesn't know how to drive a drive.
He can't drive a stick.
Yeah. So what's going to happen when he's stuck in the apocalypse and all the zombies are coming after us, and the only car he has available is the straight drive? What's he going to do?
Well, I guess he's going to end up being a zombie.
I mean, the thing about it is you don't need to know how to drive a straight drive anymore because they don't even really make them. I mean, they're not sitting on lots anymore.
Yeah, hardly anybody makes them. I mean, Zach and I have talked about teaching him, but his mother could drive a stick. When I first met her, she was driving a car that was a stick, but Zach couldn't. Dara, my daughter, couldn't. I don't know that my husband could.
My first car was that Honda Prelude we talked about last week with the flip up lights, 1991 Honda Prelude, straight drive, and I was cool. I was so cool when I was 15.
Well, I don't know how to break.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you're still cool today.
Yeah.
You wear some of the coolest hats anybody has ever seen.
I got 250 of these things. I've already told you that.
Yeah. No, that's you can't be cool and have less than 250 CQA hats. It's just not possible.
Well, I guess they're really, really cheap hats because anytime I sweat, there's a ring that just stains it right here. So I just got to throw it right in the trash and just get the next one out.
Well, you know, you'll go through them in a couple of years.
So just to give you guys a little behind the scenes stuff here, we have there's a chat going on the side over here. We have 2 producers, 2 editors. We have my wife here, and they talk all throughout the thing of all the stupid things that me and Ray say. And my wife knows that the unions are a subject for me that frustrates me. So as soon as I started talking about unions, she says, "Not unions, ... And he said, "Time to end the topic." He coughed. And Darian, who edits our videos, he says, "I'm leaving the cough in." And then they just keep on going through. All right, please, let's not talk about this is a risky topic. Let's not talk about this. So they're trying to get me off a topic because they know where I'm going with this. Anyway, so there you go. You get a little behind the scenes imagery of what I'm dealing with, because I'm pulling up articles, I'm pulling up images, I'm looking at all the things that I should not be saying while I'm saying it. I'm reading your stupid comments, all of you, and you guys are fighting with each other in the comment section. So there's 8,000 things going on in this show while me and Ray are going, and man, I'm tired. Let's you're
coughing. Let's call it a day.
Yeah, let's end it. Let's end it. All right, so all of you watching it here, I know most of you are not subscribed, so I need you to hit that subscribe button. Whatever we need to do to get you to hit that subscribe button, Ray will do it. So just hit it for us and let us know what he needs to do down in the comments to get you to subscribe.